Hi, Kenny. How are you?
Hey, man, I'm good. How are you?
I'm well. Excited to be talking. Loving this new record, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty pumped about it.
So I gather, at least from the press release part, the whole thing about this, as you said, is trying to, I don't know, tackle American roots music. But that's such a broad statement that I was kind of wondering if you would be able to kind of break that down for us.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a broad statement, but if you listen to the record, it's a pretty diverse and broad ranging album, you know. So like we did, obviously blues is the foundation of everything that I do. So, you know, that's the common thread throughout the whole record. But we took blues music and we kind of pushed it into a few different directions, and we did it naturally. We, you know, it wasn't like too intentional. I was just kind of like doing the music that I felt compelled to do. But some of my other American music influences came out. So you've got blues and blues rock, and then you've got like there's a song called Diamonds and Gold that has a real R&B vibe to it, you know, with like kind of like a Memphis type horn section and an urban kind of delivery with the vocal on it. Then you've got Hard Lesson Learned and Lay It On Down, the title track, that have a slight country influence to them. Then you have like the straight up blues. So, you know, there's like a lot of variety on the record, but all of those genres are very closely related. So if you know what you're doing, you can kind of weave in and out of them together and use each genre to kind of to advance, you know, the other one into different directions, and it doesn't sound like weird.
Right. I mean, that is one of the things I noticed right from the beginning is with all those styles, it still makes an album. Like this still, it doesn't sound like you're just trying like, okay, and now here's Kenny Wayne Shepherd doing, you know, Americana, or here's Kenny Wayne Shepherd doing, you know, New Orleans or something like that. It's still, there is such a cohesiveness to it, and I guess that completely speaks to what you were saying there about how close those, I don't know, sounds are when you really get down to it.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you trace all popular music back to its origin, at some point you're going to find yourself back at blues music.
Right.
And country and blues were always just, you know, variations of one another. And rock and roll came from blues, and R&B, you know, the same thing. They call R&B stands for rhythm and blues, you know. And so all of these things kind of, if you trace it back, you'll always find yourself back at the blues. And so, like I said, you know, it all kind of stems from there. So if you know what you're doing musically, and you do it kind of in the right way, it creates new musical opportunities when you start mixing this stuff up.
It's really the close that makes the genre.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely, it's like the thread that kind of binds it all together. And it always has been for me. You know, if you listen to my records over the course of my career, we've always taken blues music and tried to go into, you know, and into new and different directions with it, usually through mixing of rock and roll to create a more contemporary blues sound or a blues rock sound. But on this one, you know, we brought some other things into it.
Yeah, and one of those things, by the way, is co-writing. You work with co-writers on this record, right?
Yeah, I mean, I always have from day one. I just enjoy collaborating with other people, but I wrote with some new people on this album. You know, I stepped outside the comfort zone. I was a brand new producer and a bunch of new songwriters that I've never worked with, although there are a couple of songs that I wrote with Mark Selby and Tia Sillers. So I wrote Blue on Black and Deja Voodoo and a lot of my previous hit songs with them, and we've been writing together since the beginning of my career. It'd be easy to just kind of stick to what I know works, but I really want to push myself to do something different, get out of the comfort zone and challenge myself. And so I met up with a lot of different people trying to write, you know, some new material, and then kind of honed in on the collaborations that I thought were working really well. And then we came up with a whole new group of songs with some new people.
Was there a standout aha moment for you working with some of those others?
Well, yeah, I mean, you just know, like, chemistry is not something that can be forced or fabricated. It exists between people or not, and it becomes obvious. You know, you kind of sit down in a room, it's a pretty intimate setting, and, you know, and you start trying to write a song, which is kind of a personal experience, and you know pretty quickly whether or not it's working. And so, yeah, I mean, when the chemistry's there, you can certainly identify it. And so I kind of noticed that with certain people and started honing in on that and really focusing on the ones that were working well.
Yeah, that's what I've always found interesting about co-writing. You talk about that intimacy, and here's someone that you might not know very well at all. You might be meeting for the first time, and even if it's just a story and it's not autobiographical, there's still a sense of, it's like making out with a stranger, I guess, because.
I guess it kind of can be, and you're just kind of waiting to see if there's going to be the spark. But yeah, more often than not, I mean, if you know you're aligning yourselves with people that have talent, then you're at least putting the odds in your favor that something good is going to come out of it. But there's no guarantees,
Right. On into the album then, well, actually I'm going to put your whole career on this sentence because, for the songs that we love, you're known for that guitar. And I sort of wonder, for you writing these songs, did you ever see the vocals as a means to get the guitar out?
Well, the vocal and the singing and the words have always been important to me. Like when I signed my record deal when I was 16 years old, and Irving Azoff signed me to his record company, and he said to me, "What kind of record are you going to make?" And I said, "Well, I don't know yet. I haven't decided, exactly what I'm going to do." And he said, "Well, look, just go make whatever album you want to make." He's like, "I don't care if it's all instrumental, whatever you want to do, just go do it." So I had the opportunity, if I just wanted to just make a whole album of guitar for my first album, that's what I could have done. But to me, I come from a family where my dad was in radio, and he was a program director and general manager and on-air personality on many different radio stations. So I grew up around a radio station. I grew up listening to hit songs, and I grew up, watching bands come through town and watching shows. But the lyrics, the vocal melody, having songs. And this record in particular has a lot of these songs on it where, people, it makes you want to sing along to it. I wanted to have some really hooky melodies because, as a writer, man, when you see people sing along with your song, that's a really great validation, And so the lyrics, the vocal, to me, has always been as important as the guitar. Otherwise, I would have just put out a bunch of guitar-based albums. I see music as an opportunity to move people and to convey a message and move people emotionally through music. And you can do that with and without lyrics, but the lyrics and the singing has always been pretty important to me as well.
But about that guitar, though, I mean, it's, I guess it's one thing just to stay in key, but those solos sort of have to speak for this song at the same time. Like, I don't know, do you ever look at it in a certain way? Like, I don't know, is the guitar in a duet with those vocals? When it's time for the solo, like, what does that mean for you for this song?
Oh, well, the solo is an opportunity for me to move people without words. And so, yeah, that's a pretty important thing. And it's not something that, that just anybody can do. And it's a challenge every night, every song. I try and challenge myself to do that. That's the goal, is to like actually move somebody emotionally without even opening your mouth. And there's all kinds of ways, that you can do that. But playing a solo is like, it's like painting almost. You start with a blank canvas and then you have to craft something from scratch that you think is going to move people.
Yeah, well, it's always impressive what you do. And I'll point out one of the songs, too, that title track, just a great song, Lay It Down.
Yeah, thanks. That's one of the reasons why, I feel that's a powerful song, and that's one of the reasons why I chose it for the title track. And because this is the first, if I'm not mistaken, it's the first studio album that that's first song in the studio that I've played a guitar solo on an acoustic guitar, which is, a little different for me, and probably not what people expect. But, I think it's a great song. It has a powerful message behind it.
Yeah, and that might be why it stood out, too, because when you first hear that, it is very different from what I get from you. But it's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
So, thank you.
Yeah, and I'll leave you on a lighter note, too, because a hard lesson learned, the blues have made an entire history on talking about how love went wrong or whatever. But to find, a new way or just a way to talk about something like that hasn't been beaten to death, and I don't know, I had a lot of fun with that song, and it sort of falls in that, like, they say there's only so many ways you can skin a cat, but somehow you're still finding ways to do that.
Right. Well, yeah, that is kind of one of the oldest stories to be told of mankind, is, the broken relationship between a man and a woman. And, it seems like there's only so many ways you can tell that story, but, that is a challenge, and is to tell it slightly different, and still keep people interested in it. And country music, for a long time was about that, and blues music, that's what the stereotype, people throw out there. It's like somebody whining about, their woman doing them wrong. But yeah, we tried to just tell it in a creative and revealing and kind of just very vulnerable position, from this guy that keeps getting burned and he can't help himself. He keeps going back over and over and over again to a woman that doesn't love him as much as he loves her.
His loss is my gain, I suppose. So
right. There you go.
All right, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, thank you so much for calling today, and for the record, we really do love Lay It Down, so thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right, take care, man.
All right, man. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.